Hello guys, I'm back. My name is Jeferson Costa. I'm a chemical process engineer with expertise in plant design, and today I will talk about how important is safety to chemical process engineers. And if you don't know me yet, I share my experience in the internet for the following years, and on May I will having a special event, a workshop to teach you what you must know to work with plant design. So I will show you this in some moments, but first I would like to share with you why I choose the subject for this session, and every Saturday I have a new video to share with you about what are the roles, responsibilities, and the life of a chemical process engineer. And the last week I went to a field activity, so I did a site survey with a group of comrades from the company, and when we arrived there we have some kind of procedures to be able to get into the facility, industrial facility, and I will talk to you about that because it is very important to us that wants to work with plant design. But before talking about it, let me share with you some notes or some announcements. Let me see here. Sometimes I get troubled with my camera. So first, I invite you to know my website, jeffersoncosta.com. Currently, as I told you, it's open the registration for the chemical process engineer journey. It start on May 30, 2021, and you will find not only that in my website, but you will find also the link for YouTube, and also to join my Telegram, my free mentoring for people in Telegram, how to connect with me in LinkedIn. I have also a training for Aspen High Seas. You can find more details about that on my website, and also the link for my blog. So there are a lot of content there related to chemical process engineering and plant design. But if you register to the workshop event, you will go to the Start or Journey website, and here you just need to fill your email and tell me where are you from, or where do you live, because as you know, it is very important to me to know where are you from, because I am a chemical process engineer from Brazil, and it's very important to me to know how far my message gets reaches the world. And I have students from Canada, Mexico, India, Kazakhstan, Australia, and if you tell me where you're from, it will be very nice. So the main objectives here today is to talk about safety, and I have some videos to share with you. In fact, I have one video to share with you. Hello Sandino, how are you doing? Very nice to have you here, Sandino. And I have a video to show you, and I have some real cases to share with you also. So to start about the subject safety for chemical process engineers, first of all, it's important to know the difference between process safety and also occupational and health safety. They are related, but they are not the same. In Brazil, we have a profession that is named segurança do trabalho, or occupational engineer, and we have the field of not expertise, but the field of work of process safety. What is the difference about them? The main difference, because I will not get in details and academic details about them, okay? So the process safety engineer is worried, or it cares about the process. So it needs to evaluate what are the hazards related to the process. So if we have too much pressure, too much temperature, less pressure, less temperature, and we need to evaluate and verify based on the standards what are the requirements to let our process in a condition that any kind of incident or accident may happen. So if I identify that it's possible to have an overpressurization in my system, I need to have some kind of device that will release the content to a safe location to prevent a rupture in the equipment, for instance. Or if we are talking about extremely low temperature, for instance, if we are talking about liquid nitrogen, we can reach minus 185 Celsius degree or around that. And based on that, the engineer that works with plant design must choose the correct material for that application. But if we have a liquid nitrogen, we have a vaporizer, and after that we are supposed to have gas, nitrogen gas, I will not use the same material that I use as using the liquid nitrogen. So this way, I need to evaluate which kind of protection I must add to my process to prevent that in a case of a failure, the liquid nitrogen reaches the vapor or the gas nitrogen stream. So we can add the temperature transmitters, we can add alarm, we can add isolation, automatic isolation valve, and a trip alarm for low temperature. In this way, if we identify that extremely low temperature is reaching the minimum design temperature of the material, we cut the supply and we prevent that. So this is some of the subjects that the process, the safety engineer, and also in many cases the chemical process engineer is do the same role, are interested too. In the other hand, as by the regulation, in many countries there is some regulations related to the occupational safety. The main focus is not the process. Now the focus is the employees, the collaborators. It is the focus are the persons that work in those processes. So we don't want that any employee get injured or get hurt during the operations of the plant. We want to avoid as much as possible any kind of hazard to the employees, because that will not when we hire someone to do a job, you want that this person gets safe to the site and that they return safe to their homes, because this is the way that it should be. And although the process safety can impact the safety of the employees in some way based on the hazard of the process, the truth is that the occupational safety is worried to other aspects of the safety in the job. So we need to take care about the behavior of the employee, if it follows the rules or not. We need to evaluate, or we need to have available for the employees the correct procedures to do their tasks, or the correct individual equipment protection for them, in order that they can work safely, they can behave safely, and in the end of the day, in the end of the week, in the end of the world, everything is okay for everyone, not only for the company, but also for the employee. And why I'm telling you all of this? I'm telling you all of this because in many companies, I cannot say many companies, but in companies that are worried about the, how can I say that? If the company has some kind of stocks in big markets, like stocks in US or in stocks in other countries, the safety behavior or the safety culture of the company tends to be high or tends to be tough, because any kind of hazard that happens in the facility will affect the stocks of the company. So I always tell about this example. Bhopal accident is a very mark in the industry, because after that the unicarbide disappeared, was decimated, because too much money was expended to compensate the people that died, their families, and etc. So the safety issue is extremely important to the employee, because if we die, we are not able to take care of our family, but the companies look for that also, because if someone dies in his facility, it can lead to a series of events that can lead to the death of the company. So when we are talking about for medium to big companies, that is very, very important. And of course that sometimes it is more in some companies it is a slogan, but it doesn't happen in the field, in the operator level. But in other companies, that is a real concern. And I will talk to you about two companies, and one of them is what I visited the last week. So for many years, I worked to Praxair, and if you don't know the Praxair history, now it is a Linde company. The Praxair is the result of the decimation of the unicarbide. So the unicarbide was needs to sell its segment, and the Praxair was the result of one of the segments that was the separation of the industrial gases. And because of that, the culture of safety of the Praxair was very, very tight. And one of the slogans, or one of the culture of the company is that safety is a matter of employability. And that is very, very, very serious in the company. Every time that we have any kind of incident, and not accident here I will define as someone or some equipment is damaged or is hurted. And incident is a potential for the damage. So for instance, if I am here right now, and if something drop to my head and I get hurt, it is an accident. But if something drops at front of me and it doesn't hurt me, it is an incident. So I will use this concept here, okay? Here is a concept that I adapting from Portuguese. I am not so sure if in English they use the same concept. So even though no one get hurted or any kind of equipment was damaged, we had a serious sequence of investigation of the accident or in the incident to prevent that happened. And if it is identified that the employees not involved with that was not performing in a safe behavior, eventually they could get fired because of that. I was in a commissioning. I don't remember the year, but I was in a commissioning. I was in the airport, returning to my home, and I received a message in the WhatsApp group of the team, the engineering team, that one of our colleagues was fired. And he was fired because he was in a site doing some activities, and one of the activities that he was related to, although it was not his responsibility, was to do they were doing the shifting or replacing one level transmitter. And to do this kind of replacement in a system that have the ammonia, there are work permission to be done. And in the work permission, one of the steps is to do the safety evaluation of the event, to do the checklist, verify what kind of individual protection are needed, and etc. So as I know, he was in the control room and he was one of the engineers that assigned that everything was okay to do the activity. And there was another engineer at the field the supervising the activity, and there was the operator doing the activity. And because some kind of some communication, I'm not so sure what happened. The truth is that when the operators tried to remove the level transmitter, it was filled with ammonia, and ammonia is it can burn the skin, and so this supervisor and also the operator get burnt because it was pressurized when it was tried to replace this, the ammonia spread. And to summarize, because of that event, there was a series of interviews, there is a series of investigation, and these both engineers was fired because this event. So that's why, depending on the company that you are working on, it will happen to you. Although you are doing your best, and doesn't matter if you are 12 hours, 15 hours working on, if something gets wrong, you are the fragile piece in the chain. Okay, so you must remember about that when you are doing your activities. And lose the job is the minor effect, right? Because if he gets burns, he would have it could be killed, or he could lose some of the mobilities of his members, or etc. So it would be much worse than losing the job. So when we go to when we go to the field to another company, or when we go to a new facility, what happens is that the safety occupational team of the site will give you a short training about the risks and the prevention that must be considered to working or doing the walkthrough to this facility. And it was what I had in the last Monday, no, last Wednesday. I was there on Wednesday. So based on that, what is the purpose of the occupational safety in this training, this kind of training? Is to tell you that you need to use your hat. For instance, I have here my hat. I always like to have my own hat, and when I do a visit, I always bring my hat with me, and the hat must have this to make sure that the hat will not drop out from your head when you are using it. I like to have this kind of a ear protection because I think it's more comfortable and more efficient than the plug ones. We need to have the goggles or safety glass. It is very important also, because if someone splits in your eyes, it will be protected, or if some kind of particle material gets to your eyes, you will be protected. And of course that we must use boots. This is my one. It's dirty, okay, but we need to have boots, and eventually most of the case the boot has this part is more resistant, because if something drops at your feet, it will protect your feet from being smashed. And in this particular website, I needed to use this kind of cloth. You can see that it is here we call this college, but it's not a jacket, but it's something that if the lights reflects on it, it will be easier for the operations if someone is in a machine, or it's in a car, or it's in a truck, it will get visualize the person easily. And depending, I have some others here. If I go into operations, if I supposed to open some valves or closing some valves, I always use my gloves, and the gloves type will depending on the kind of hazard that we are talking about. It is for when you are talking about hot surfaces, it protects me from hot surfaces, or cryogenic surfaces, it is good also. And depending on if we are talking about flammables, in some cases the companies deliver or let available a cloth that is fireproof. So like we have in the Formula One cars, if this get fire, it will not be so fast as we have in normal clothes. So this is some of the individual equipment protection that we must use when we are talking about industrial facilities, petrochemical, chemical, oil and gas facility. That is very, very important. And the individual personal protection, they do not prevent the accident. They prevent the consequences of the accident. So if something drops at my head, if I am not with the hat, it will hurt my head. But if I am with the hat, the hurt will be prevented. But it doesn't prevent why something dropped at my head. So this is why we have some kinds of investigation to evaluate. It was a matter of isolation. The isolation was not enough. I was in an area that I should be. It is some kind of indiscipline, operational indiscipline. So all of this is evaluated by the company. And what we have in this kind of activity is that the people from occupational safety, they show to us some impacting videos, because we are talking about facilities, we are talking about a petrochemical plant, a hydrogen plant, for instance, but the risks of accident is in anywhere, not only in the company, but also in our house, or in a shop, in a restaurant, and etc. So here at this point, I will share with you a short video, and it is very similar to those ones that I have watched during the integration. Here in Brazil, we call integration is the meeting that we have between be able to enter the facility. And in this meeting, the main purpose is to show the safety behaviors, the kind of equipments that are needed, and the kind of prevention that must be considered. So just a little bit. Guys, if you have any question, just let me know, because although this subject is not strictly to plan design, it is doesn't I'm not talking here about calculations and etc. If depending on the company that you work on, you can be fired because you don't have a safety mindset, you don't have a safety behavior. And in this company, for instance, now we are facing the pandemic issue here. So all the places that I need to go, I need to have a mask. Like this one, a most simple one is this one. So in the company that I was visiting, it was told that if anyone is get without the mask, if it is an employee, it is fired automatically. It doesn't matter why the mask was, the person was not using the mask. And if it is a visitor, there are some kind of penalties. Some of them is to rewatch the integration meeting, or eventually it is prohibited of visiting any facility in the group. So imagine that we are a consultant and or you are in employee of a 30 design office, a 30 party design office, and you go to the customer and you break one rules, and the customer has 20 or 30 facilities and you are prohibited of going to any one of them. Of course, that your boss will not be very happy with you, and to not say the opposite. So that's why it's very, very important you have aware about it. Okay, not only because your health, but because of your employability. So let me share with you right now. Okay. I will comment your message, Azama, just a moment, okay? So as you can see, this is not my YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is from Dark Umbra, and he did a compilation of the prevent-it.ca videos. I didn't find this domain. I think it was removed, but in these videos you will see what kind of mindset or of kind of behavior the occupational team wants you to avoid. So
I'm the sous chef here. With any luck, I should be head chef by next year. I've got this amazing fiance, who I won't be marrying this weekend, because I'm about to be in a terrible accident. But really, I should have cleaned up the grease over there, and they should never put the deep fryer so close.
Somebody help me!
I'm working overtime because I want to take my family on a nice vacation. Soon they get a call telling them I was killed in an accident. But hey, I'm wearing a busted harness here. And the company should have checked those tanks to...
There's been an accident! Run, get some help! Sergeant Standard, call the ambulance! Hey, Jim! You take care of that skid? Yeah. Call 911! We got an accident here!
This was no accident. The company knows it's against code to store that much weight up there. I knew I should have been focused on what I was doing. And it's obvious the supervisor didn't report that broken shelf.
Accident? There's no accident. The company should have replaced that ladder years ago. I knew I shouldn't have reached over like that. And why isn't there a strict policy about two people doing a job like this?
James was with our company for 10 years before this tragic accident.
Whoa. Accident? What are you talking about? Your company never fully trained me to deal with high voltage wires. And the way they were insulated, it was obvious someone wanted to get home in a hurry. What was I thinking? Not wearing all of my safety equipment.
So guys, this is the kind of material that we are exposed to when we are doing some kind of integration. And the main objective is that to do impact in our sense of safety evaluation. So this is depressing. I can say that it's very, very depressing when we finish the training. We don't feel happy to see this kind of accident or this kind of events, but it is something that can help, that can happen during your day, during your work activities, and etc. So in this case, what is the purpose of the series of video is to say that there is no accident. If something wrong happens, is because there was not a concern about that, the people didn't care about that, there was not procedure, there was not protection for the employee. So this is the kind of thing that we want to avoid at any cost, during our working. Okay, so if we get injury, it's not good for sure, and the supervisor will be responsible for what happened. And believe me, the chain will break in the weaker part, and the weaker part is us that is working to the companies. So I have a question here for Osama. Please discuss about Aspen IC certification. Please again discuss about safety in ammonia plant. I will talk about the ammonia plant, about the Aspen certification. There are at least 2 videos related to that. One of them, I did an interview with Arkaduiti, one of my students in my mentoring program. He shared some tips on how you should prepare yourself to do the Aspen certification exam. And I have also another video here when I talk about the Aspen expert certification. So you can find both our videos of that Usama already available here in the website, in the YouTube channel, and in the future I may return with this subject. But talking about ammonia plant, in fact, the case that I shared with you, it was not ammonia plant, it was a CO2 liquefaction plant. And to do the liquefaction of the CO2 is that we use a closed loop with ammonia. So when we pressurize the ammonia and we reduce the temperature of the ammonia, it gets liquid phase, and it's at a relatively high temperature, like for if we pressurize the ammonia to, if I'm not wrong, 7 bar G or 10 bar G or around that, and I reduce the temperature to minus than 35, around 30 or something like that, I have the ammonia in the liquid state. And when I have a closed loop, so what I need to have to liquefy the CO2 is a temperature below 25 Celsius, if minus 25 Celsius, if I'm not wrong. And of course that depends on about the pressure and etc. And to get this temperature, I depressurize the ammonia. So I depressurize that, so it partially vaporizes, partially it keeps in liquid, and the temperature achieved is below the liquefaction point of the CO2. And I have the heat exchanging, and my compressor gets the vapor, ammonia vapor, and recirculates again, pressurize again, and we have a evaporative cooler, or we have an air cooler to liquefy the ammonia again. So we have some heat exchangers that are filled with ammonia, liquid ammonia, to cool down the CO2, right? So we have some kinds of risks, we have some kinds of hazards in this kind of plant. first, if we are talking about the liquid CO2 as it is in negative temperatures, if one operator opens one drain or a vent that is not supposed to be opened in operations, we have liquid oxygen, liquid CO2 going out from the process, and that can hurt them. So although the main risk in this case is to have an injury in the people because the burns caused by the liquid CO2. In the ammonia side, in the ammonia side we have the risks of burning, but the ammonia is also an asphyxiation gas. So if you breathe ammonia, you will be difficult to breathe again. So in many sites where we have ammonia, we have some kind, usually we have some kind of mask to add to use in a case of the ammonia leakage. I have this in a facility that I worked in Bahia doing the commissioning startup, and in this one we have also I don't have it here right now, but I have my own one. So we use the mask and your eyes will get irritated. We will not be able to see the things too well, but at least if you can use this mask, it will filter the air and will prevent the ammonia of getting at your, I don't know how to say pulmões in English. Interesting, I talk in English, but there are some words in English, usually words like parts of the body that I don't know how to say in English. So this is the kind of concern. And to operate these plants, we need to have the appropriate individual equipment protection. We need to have the appropriate controls and alarms and shutdowns of the plant. Okay, so thanks for your question. Very nice. So guys, based on that, to finish here, we have some major in practice they called it agents of fatality. I remember that it was 6 ones. I have listed here 5. The 6th I forgot. But when we are talking about field operations, we need to take care about asphyxiation, because it happens a lot. When I worked in the industrial gases, we worked with oxygen, nitrogen, argon, and in many cases, in many plants, we use nitrogen to purge the system to prevent forms of explosion or fire, because the nitrogen is a net gas. So it's very common that we use nitrogen to purge the lines to prevent an explosion. And during the commissioning of this equipment, we need to do the cleaning, and we had some kinds of events related to people that get inside a confined space full of oxygen, and because of that, full of nitrogen, and because of that they died, because if you will breathe nitrogen, you will remove the oxygen and you will die, because what we need to breathe is oxygen, and the atmosphere has around 80% of nitrogen, 20% of oxygen, and if we dislocate that too much, not only too much, if we reduce the oxygen from 20 to 50 percentage, you already get I think it's dosing, so you get nauseas and etc. So it is one of the concerns that you must be aware to. And how do you know the hazards of a component that you use in your facility? you have the safety material data sheet, safety MDST. So in the safety material data sheet, it will give you the main information related to reactivity, the also flammability of the material, and if it is asphyxiation or not, if it is corrosive or not. So it is when we starting heating material balance, I recommend you, and now talking about plan design, you will do your plan design, you have the raw materials related to your process, ask for or look for the material safety data sheet, because this will give you a better understanding of the kind of hazards that can lead to that component, to the workers or to the employees of your company. Another very common agent of fatality is fall. And for us that work with plan design, it is not so clear, but during the commissioning, during construction, and during the plant operation, it's very important that the people be aware of that, because we clean up ladders, sometimes we need to there are many floors in an industrial plant, and that is something that you must be aware. And the employees, when they need to do some kind of activity at high weights, and depending on the local regulation, for instance, in Brazil, I believe that if it's above 1.5 meters, we need to have a special equipment to perform the work to prevent kinds of injury or fatalities because of fall. Another big issue related to fatalities is electricity. And for us also, chemical process engineer, it's not too close to us, but we must be aware of that, especially because the electricity is an invisible hazard. We are not able to evaluate by eye, by watching, if we have some kind of electricity running through some surface or not. And so it's not close to us, but it's something that we must be aware. And it is very common when we are talking about oil and gas industry, is fire and explosion issues. This is it is closer to all kinds of activities, because we need to have gas suppression, we need to have some kind of firefighting, and we need to have the analyzers for lower level explosivity or lower level flammability, lower level, etc. So when we are doing the project, we are asked for, in many cases, to inform to the electrical engineer and also to mechanical engineer, to inform what is the LAL, lower explosivity level of the component, or the lower flammability level of the component. And if you are running a hydrogen plant, for instance, and I had this kind of issue, if you have a hydrogen pipeline, if you reach 5% of oxygen, you have the risk of explosion. So you prevent that. I think that it was lower. So we need to have protections, safety protections in our system to prevent this amount of oxygen in a hydrogen pipeline. So when I was doing the commissioning of the plant, and I know that I will have hydrogen in these pipelines, what is the procedure? First we purge the line with nitrogen to remove all the oxygen or all the air that is inside the pipeline. We do some measurements to verify, to make sure that the oxygen content is very below the limit risks. And once that is okay, now I can fill the hydrogen inside my pipeline, and I will still have nitrogen. So I purge the system for one time to remove the nitrogen, and after the hydrogen content is okay, we are able to align or to feed the customer with the product. So this is very, very important to you that plans to work with plan design, because this is the way that we use to prevent accidents, to prevent incidents, and that you can let you safer and safe, and also the company avoid any kind of trouble. So this is it, guys. Thanks a lot for being with me up to this point. It's not a subject very interesting to many of people, to much of people, but it is something that will prevent you, that will help you to return to your home every day safe to your family. So if you have any question, just let me know right now. Usama, I will return in the future to talk more about Aspen High Seas. The subject today is to talk about safety, and this is it. Remember, on May, I will start the workshop, Chemical Process Engineer Journey in Plan Design. Don't miss that. You just need to go to my website, jefersoncosta.com, and fill the registration. Bye-bye.